All right. I'm Mary Rogers with Valentine Cadieux, and she's going to talk a little bit about food trucks in the neighborhood.
Thanks. So Mary just had a really great idea about we have community farms like Frogtown Farm getting built up. And there are a lot of people who want access to food or who want to do stuff with food. And there are starting to be more food trucks around, and there are starting to be some mobile markets. But what if we had food prep trucks? And part of what I've been thinking is right now we have community kitchens like at churches, and then we have some that are licensed food kitchens. There's actually a map in St. Paul of all of the licensed kitchens. But there's kind of a big gap between like I want to do stuff with a group that already has access to a kitchen and I know how to use a commercial kitchen. So I love the idea of food truck kitchens that could go around, and it could be like we spent the last 2 days picking kale and collards out of the Rondo Inc. Plaza garden and then trying to freeze it. So things where it's just going to be like, we don't need to be selling this, but we want to preserve it in larger quantities than maybe we can do in our home kitchen.
So, who might be some of the people who would use the kitchen?
Well, part of what's been striking me as I learn more about this neighborhood is there are a lot of youth programs where like Conservation Corps came out and did a lot of the harvest. And what ends up happening, especially with food that's grown here, is it depends on the weather. Like it's really hard to schedule. So if you had a mobile, it would be like the way that mobile sawmills have changed small-scale forestry. You know, like by bringing the processing infrastructure where it's needed, when it's ripe, and when there are people available, I think you could probably get more food to people who would use it. So, like, I bet the food shelves would help with this because it would, they really want more fresh food. I think it would be great, especially if more schools could have gardens. One of the things that happens is schools plant stuff in the spring and then harvest it in the fall, but there's not any continuity. So if you could have, this would be like a piece that could fit in and then help build up.
So what would maybe a step be to make it happen? Like, I know it's a big vision, but how could we do it? Where do we start?
One starting place seems, what if you could get together the people who have food trucks? So Keystone, I think, has a mobile food truck. And now Wilder has their mobile market.
Okay.
And say, like, do they have, and Sisters Camelot has a food truck that they prepare stuff. So to do some survey, and then maybe to get some of the places that are getting youth bringing elders food, to maybe do a couple classes with them using those food trucks and say, what would this look like? Kind of like could something like Sisters Camelot.
Hard to do. It seems like we could come up with a plan and make it happen.
So maybe we can follow up with the Wilder Foundation and the mobile market and see how that process went and whether this might be something that could continue.